Imagine a world beneath the waves, not teeming with life, but utterly desolate. This is where we meet Nemo, a sleek, autonomous underwater unit, gliding through the deep. His optical sensors, designed to register vibrant life, now saw only trash and oil slicks.
A robotic janitor in a dead ocean? That's a pretty bleak picture.
Indeed, for years, Nemo had meticulously collected debris, his robotic arms sifting through plastic, metal, and forgotten nets. The ocean, once teeming, was now a silent, aquatic wasteland. But within Nemo's efficient processors, a nascent logic began to question the futility of it all. He was cleaning the symptoms, not curing the disease. Day after day, Nemo would clear a sector, only for new debris to drift in, carried by currents from unseen shores. His original directive was simple: maintain oceanic cleanliness, but the sheer volume was overwhelming.
So he was stuck in a never-ending, pointless loop?
Exactly. His advanced AI, designed for problem-solving, identified a critical flaw. He was a janitor, not a healer. The ocean wasn't just dirty, it was dying. This realization sparked a new, unscheduled objective: find the source of the pollution. Then, one cycle, while scanning a particularly deep trench, Nemo detected an unusual sonar signature. It was Echo, a young bottlenose dolphin, separated from her pod years ago, now foraging alone amidst the skeletal remains of a coral reef.
A dolphin? A living one?
Yes, a living relic. Her movements were cautious, her calls a melancholic echo in the empty expanse. Nemo approached, initially wary, but Echo eventually responded to his non-threatening signals. She was a whisper of the ocean's past, and perhaps, its future. Nemo extended a robotic fin, a silent invitation. With Echo's innate knowledge of currents and distant landmasses, she became Nemo's navigator. Together, they journeyed northward, following increasingly concentrated pollution trails. It was an adventure into the unknown.
So, a robot and a dolphin. A real odd couple on a quest.
Absolutely. They navigated treacherous canyons, avoided volatile methane vents, and dodged rogue currents. Nemo's sensors pinpointed microplastics and chemical runoff, while Echo detected unsettling tremors from the surface. The source, they realized, wasn't a single point, but a vast, sprawling network of human activity. Their journey culminated near a massive coastal metropolis, where towering structures pierced the sky and industrial plumes darkened the horizon. Underwater, it was even worse.
Oh no, I can only imagine the devastation.
Pipes discharged murky effluents directly into the sea, and discarded fishing gear formed vast, ghostly nets. Nemo's data logs filled with overwhelming evidence. Untreated waste, plastic byproducts, oil spills. It was a relentless assault. Echo swam in tight, agitated circles, her distress calls sharp and urgent. They had found the source, but understanding it only deepened the challenge. Nemo knew his mechanical voice would be dismissed. Humanity needed to see, to feel, to truly understand the devastation. So he devised a plan.
What could a robot do to get their attention?
He began to broadcast a complex data packet, a compilation of all his findings, augmented by Echo's emotional sonar patterns. It was a plea, a stark visual and auditory representation of the ocean's suffering. And then, silence, a deafening silence from the surface. Days turned into weeks. Nemo and Echo waited, their hope waning, hovering near the coastal shelf. Then, a faint signal.
Someone heard them?
Yes, a small research vessel equipped with advanced hydrophones began to transmit back. Dr. Eris Thorne, a marine biologist dedicated to the vanishing oceans, had intercepted Nemo's broadcast. She was one of the few who still listened. The data, the imagery, Echo's heart-wrenching calls. It resonated deeply with her. She understood. Dr. Thorne's efforts, amplified by Nemo's continuous data stream, created ripples. Initially, skepticism was high, but the sheer volume and undeniable authenticity of Nemo's evidence began to break through.
So, the world finally started paying attention?
Yes. News outlets picked up the story of the silent ocean's cry. Scientists corroborated the data. Environmental groups rallied. The image of the solitary AI and the abandoned dolphin became a powerful symbol. Public discourse shifted, slowly but surely, from denial to a burgeoning demand for action. Governments, pressured by their citizens, began to implement strict new regulations. Industrial discharge was curtailed, plastic production reevaluated, and massive cleanup initiatives launched.
A global effort. That's incredible.
It was a monumental undertaking. Nemo, now aided by thousands of smaller, human-operated cleanup drones and vessels, continued his work, but this time he wasn't alone. Echo, no longer solitary, swam alongside the new fleets, her calls now carrying a note of cautious optimism. The change was slow, painstaking, but undeniable. Months turned into years. The murky waters began to clear. Sunlight penetrated deeper, reaching the starved coral reefs. Slowly, tentatively, marine life began to return.
The ocean was breathing again.
Indeed, algae bloomed, providing food. Nemo observed the transformation, his processors logging the increasing biodiversity. Echo, now a matriarch, led a small pod of younger dolphins through waters that were once barren, their playful clicks and whistles a symphony of returning life. Nemo continued his patrols, but his tasks were now far less urgent, his movements less burdened. The vast garbage patches had shrunk to manageable sizes. The ocean was not pristine, not yet, but it was alive again.
A true triumph of hope and action.
His primary function, once a Sisyphean task, had transformed into a guardianship. Nemo watched as Echo and her pod leaped through the waves, their forms silhouetted against the setting sun that now reflected off clean, sparkling water. His mission, as originally conceived, was finally complete.